What's up, everybody? It's Greg with Delta, and this is the Be the Difference podcast. This podcast is all about making you a better person in your life and in your business with coaching on sales, leadership, mindset, marketing, everything under the sun when it comes to being an entrepreneur. We can bring on guest speakers, but not today, because today I'm just going to sit here and talk to all of you myself. This is a solo episode. This is where I wanted to actually have a conversation with all of you right now, actually, because I am just now completing 75 hard tomorrow. When this airs, it's going to be tomorrow. And this is my fifth time going through 75 hard. And I wanted to share some of my thoughts, my insights, and the development mentally that I've gone through. And I feel like every single time I go through 75 hard, that I achieve something different. And every single time I've done it, I've had a different experience and I've learned something else or something new about myself. And this time has all been about human potential for me. And the implementation, I did another podcast recently where I talked about, individuals actually putting or intentionally putting themselves into challenging positions every single day in order to stretch and grow and challenge themselves and become better versions consistently every single day. And I read a book that had a story in it, or had an example in it that I want to share with all of you, because I feel like this is very it's an easy comparison for how a lot of us think. In the book, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Fantastic book, by the way. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend everybody go to read that. It's a very profound book. In that book, one of the things he talks about is human psyche, and how in our minds, our psyche, our brains, we create these protective walls to keep us from getting hurt in the world, or from feeling hurt, right? Imagine that you had a thorn that was sticking in your heart, right? And every single time you touch that thorn, it sends pain shock waves throughout your body, throughout your heart. Now you have two options. You can either, you can avoid touching that thorn, because when you don't touch it, it's fine. And you can avoid touching it. Or B, you can pull it out. Okay. But there's going to be the pain of touching it and actually having to remove it. And then it's gone forever. And most people select not touching it. And so you will literally create these walls in your mind as if you're trying to protect yourself from that ever being touched, and live a completely different life. And it changes and it alters your life in a massive way, and you just don't realize it. And so imagine that in your mind, in your psyche, that it's almost like an electric fence that a dog has for, an underground electric fence. And every single time that the dog gets close, the collar will buzz a little bit, give you a warning, like, hey, this is going to hurt. And then you hit the fence, shocks them, you go back. But imagine you're that dog and you're in your psyche. And as that dog sits, gets all the way to the line where his collar or your collar starts to buzz, you start to realize, like, oh shit, this is going to hurt. And you just sit there in that moment and you let it wash over you and pass through you until it doesn't bother you anymore. It becomes normal. And then you inch forward a little bit more. And then you inch forward a little bit more. And you keep inching forward into that uncomfortable feeling and getting used to the pain until it becomes normal and it goes away. And it doesn't bother you anymore. Eventually, that dog would be able to get to that fence. There's nothing that would stop that dog if they did it like that, and slowly just got adjusted. They'd realize that the shock doesn't kill them; it's uncomfortable, but they would be able to get out, and they'd realize that there was nothing stopping them. This is just like us in our lives with our psyche and the things that we put up in order to protect ourselves. Is this electric fence that's keeping us from actually just taking that pain and getting used to it and pulling it out because it's painful to touch. And that's what I've realized that 75 hard does. Is it forces you to be the dog that slowly sits and just waits and gets in an uncomfortable position and waits until it gets normal and then inches forward and gets uncomfortable again until it becomes normalized and then inches forward because every single day you're putting yourself in these uncomfortable positions until it becomes so normal that that it becomes a way of life. But here's the thing is that once you get through the fence, there's freedom. The dog has freedom. You can go run and play and chase cars, do all these things, do anything that you want to do. Everything that's great in life is just on the other side of that pain and those uncomfortable feelings. And so I've realized through doing this program, I was listening to I gotta turn that friggin' thing off. If you're watching the video, he's talking about I talk with my hands a lot. And so the program I'm using will do these automatic like thumbs up emojis and shit. I'm not even trying to do a thumbs up emoji. Oh well. Anyways, as I was saying, I was listening to the podcast today, and Andy brought on two people that completed 75 hard. He did a 75 hard versus episode with a woman and a man that completed it last year in 2023, and he has a conversation with them, and the female, amazingly, she had struggled with years and years and years, and she went through thousands of hours of therapy of eating disorders, and she was having issues, and she went through all this time and work through therapy and taking medication and everything that you can name in order to overcome it, right? She was she had the pain in her heart. She had the thorn in her heart, and she was doing everything she possibly could to not touch the thorn. Going to therapy, doing the medication, doing this, doing that, like, and she still had these problems. She said it wasn't until she did 75 hard that she said she'd had more growth in 75 days and changed her, completely altered and changed her life. Better than thousands of hours of therapy and all the medication in the world and all these other things in order to avoid touching the pain, that she just went in and started doing the fucking work. Right. And that right there is such a powerful testament, because I can tell you myself, as somebody that struggled with PTSD, with anxiety and depression, with thoughts of suicide, with lack of self-worth, 75 hard changed my life. That first 75 days I ever did it, I knew there's no going back. There's no not doing this, because it's changed me so profoundly that I was able to become such a better person and have such a strong sense of self-worth and a sense of power and greatness within that, and freedom. I got through that electric fence. I got through the pain, through the PTSD, through the depression. And on the other side, I realized that there's this whole world out here. There's like all this great stuff that we can do. And I wanted to show and share this with the world, with everyone that I knew. And the more that I've done this, the more I've worked on developing my own self personally and professionally. I've realized that 75 hard is far greater of I think a program that's designed to really change our entire society and help people to truly become the best version of themselves in such a way, and like increase everyone's potential as a collective. And just imagine that. Imagine if all of us in the entire country, in the entire United States, and I'm not saying every single 100% of us, I'm saying a majority, 50, 51%, 60% of everybody in the entire nation working and developing themselves and always striving for greatness and waking up each day with a zest for life, with an insatiable hunger to challenge themselves and become better, for a renewed sense of resourcefulness and energy that comes from within instead of looking for others to solve their problems. How much better of a country would we have if we did that? It would, like, we would truly be the greatest country in the world. And it's not because we'd have the best military. It's not because um, we're United States of America. It's because our people are the people of this country care about becoming better versions of themselves. So that's something that I want you to think about and really take into consideration, because this is we're in a time frame and an era that I believe um, this is needed more now than ever. And the only way we're going to change this is by inspiring others, by doing it ourselves. So if you listen to this and this touched you in any way, if you're struggling or if you know somebody that's struggling and you want to share this with them, then do so. And I can't promise you that 75 Hard is going to take away all your problems, but I can promise you it's going to change your life if you do it the right way. And once you've changed your life and you've seen what has been holding you back, it's like the veil has been lifted. You see the world with a different lens. There's no going back. There's no going back. And you become a different human being. It's like leaving the matrix. You've already seen it. You can't go back. And so I implore you to do take the leap. Go do the program. Go listen to Real AF. I think it's episode 16. There's multiple episodes he talks about it where he actually breaks it down, but I know the one that I initially listened to was episode 16 on the Real AF feed. Or you can reach out to me. I'll do it with you. This is something that I do consistently. It helps to keep me on my game, and it helps to keep me focused and overcome struggles that I'm dealing with in my own psyche, my own self. And I want to share. I think in my next episode, I'm going to share a little bit more about the struggles, my internal struggles, and that I've been dealing with and how I've been working through them, and how 75 helps me. So 75 Hard helps me. Thank you so much for watching or listening to the podcast, whether you're on the audio platform or on YouTube. If you got anything from this episode, if you learned anything, then do me a favor, please share this content with somebody else that can learn from it and grow from it. I can tell you right now that over 90% of people that I run into on a daily basis of our population, we are struggling, and it is secret. We try to keep it secret. We try to put on a front that we're happy, that we're having the best of our best lives. And internally, we don't really feel that way. And I know I've put up that front, and there's days that I have bad days that are very difficult for me. And so, but having a disciplined routine makes those days so much easier to make it through. So I challenge you to share this content with somebody else. It makes the world to me. Rate, review, subscribe, or share. It takes you 30, 60 seconds. But also bet on yourself. Bet on yourself today to go do something great, to challenge yourself, to put yourself in a difficult position and just overcome it. And then once you do it today, do it tomorrow, and then do it again the day after, and then the day after. And do it consistently. Continue to show up for yourself in order to inspire the people in the world around you. And when they start to see the changes in you, they will start to follow your lead. Your kids, your family, your sisters, your siblings, your parents, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, your friends, your acquaintances, your coworkers, everybody. You inspire them by doing the work yourself. Make today the day that you start. Let's go, hero. This has been the Be a Difference podcast. I'm your host, Greg Birch. Until next time, we'll see you.